The Storm is in the game. We got a chance to test it out. Want to thank the Guru for hooking us up with this vehicle. And also later in the video, you're going to see a couple other people that were instrumental, including Boda. Thank you as well for helping me out. So I brought my M2 out to the edge of the Armistice and picked up Guru. Well, picked up Guru on his way to the edge of the Armistice, and then we both went out there. So he got some testing in, and then I got a chance to get some testing in with his Storm. This is the regular Storm, so this is a Tumbril Storm tank. It has the smaller turret. For those who are used to seeing the Nova, it's not quite that same type of weaponry. It's a faster firing. You can see that the kind of like a dual weapon, bespoke weapon on top. It's kind of set up to be the smaller, faster, more nimble type of design. But if you look at the fast firing, it does have a little bit of a reload between like its volleys. And it's more meant to run and gun because it's a single person. You cannot carry anyone else on this vehicle that I know of. Believe me, we really went all over this vehicle. There's plenty of secret cubbies to hide stuff for modules and weapon racks and all sorts of stuff, but there is not seats. So it's a single person, gets on the front like kind of like transforms, and that's how it is. But the benefit of it being only a single person is you have this retractable turret on top. And when I say retractable, all I mean is that it can go slightly up and slightly down. But that's important because when it's up, it gives you a little more of an angle of attack that's closer to the vehicle. And also it gives you that extra advantage. So if you're like peeking over a rock or something, you can gain the advantage. You can see me retracting the turret here. You can see that little tiny bit it comes down. That's also useful for loading the weapon system, the full tank, into a ship, for example. So in this example, we were using an M2, but if it was a smaller ship and you're just trying to squeeze it in desperately, retracting the turret and being able to gain another foot or so of clearance might be very helpful. It does well in open ground, but it doesn't seem to like going off-road. I haven't been able to flip the thing, but as you just saw, it has like a terrain resistance that's a little iffy. Additionally, it does have a little bit of a buggy model. I wouldn't call it a flight model, but it feels a little lightweight, like it's bouncing around even when it's sitting still. And I'm sure that'll be worked on. As a reminder, this is in the PTU, the test server. So that's all up for grabs in the next few days. That's why it goes into the test server, so people can do that. Be sure to check out the issue council and be sure to contribute with these type of things. This is related to the Storm because we put other vehicles in and out when I was tooling around over back at New Babbage and it wasn't an issue. But in particular the Storm, because it has that, I think because of that lightweight issue, it tends to act weird. One thing about a weapon system that's that simple, when you're outside of Armistice, be careful when you're inside the ship. I'm going to state the obvious, but the weapon is live. If you accidentally click the button, it'll shoot up the center of the ship. The M2 at least can carry 3 Storms, or Storm AAs, by the way, because the Storm AA looks to be the same platform, but with the missile systems on top. We were not able to test that, though, to be fair. We only had Storms. So we had 2 Storms on board the M2, and it clearly has enough space to fit 3 comfortably. Maybe squeezing in 4. So these are the modules that you can see on the sides of the Tumbril Storm, and also on the back. And then there's a weapon rack I'm coming around to right here, it looks like. I believe that's a smaller one, and then there's a deployable rack right there. That little arm thing to the left of where you jump in the seat is actually a weapons rack that you can deploy for like it looks like a single weapon, or I would guess a hand tool of some other type. Now, this is a earlier shot, to be fair. This is from Boda, who helped lend me the vehicle before I was able to get a hold of the M2 and find Guru and Soph and be able to run out there onto the ice. But I wanted to add this one because this is a little cleaner. It's nice lighting inside the New Babbage Interstellar Spaceport ground terminal. And you'll see other players screwing around in here. But you can see a nice little bit of HUD. Additionally, you can see a nice paint job on this one. So there's 3 different paint jobs coming in with the Storm. And I believe this is the legacy one. Like this was the original limited edition paint that came with it if you purchased it on Warbond. Or it just accidentally has it because it's who knows. But in the proper lighting, this is what the Storm looks like. So if you notice, the turret is deployed on this model right now. And I wanted to show that the interior actually has limited visibility when you're not in the F4 mode with the advanced camera. So the buttons are actually pretty good. You can see right here that the doors open up on the front. Pretty open. I will state the obvious here. If you're facing the enemy, you really don't want to open those doors. I know you're rolling your eyes right now, everybody, but you can see the weapon rack there. If you deploy the weapon rack, the doors appear to just open, so bear that in mind. And this exposes you to the outside. You kind of like go down and then outwards. But that's the way the canopy system works. Now, in the buttons, there is actually some pretty useful things. Like I said, the deployment of the turret, the retractable turret, is really, really useful. And I should have video coming up where you can actually see it being deployed live. There you go. So, once again, we're only gaining a small amount of space here, but that is a nice advantage in a fight. You can enter the remote turret independently, so you're actually viewing it like a turret, and this is your view mode. So remember, if you're driving, this could be a little bit disorienting because you're looking where the turret's looking in this mode. When I did the testing out on the ice, I found it was far more intuitive for me to hit F4, sit in the advanced camera, and just fire the turret wherever I'm looking, like so to speak. I don't know why, but that seemed to work better for me. So that's the 2 different modes you have. You can look from inside the turret, or you can just drive around and look from inside. There's 3 modes, technically, because you can look from inside that little tiny area in front of you here, which is like a view screen. It looks really cool. That's the self-destruct button. Don't hit that. And also you have the 3rd mode, which is the advanced view camera swinging the thing, but you don't have a proper crosshair most of the time in that mode. So we've already done the exterior once, but I just wanted to go over it once again in really good lighting like this and a little more space around the vehicle. You can see it hop, skipping, and jumping even in the MBIS vehicle bay here. And it is a beautiful vehicle. I gotta give it credit where credit is due. The model is excellent. It looks really, really good, and I think a couple little bugs are not going to ruin it. They'll adjust the weight or whatever they have to adjust to make it not do the jumpy thing, and it'll be solid. It'll be just solid, rock solid. And it already is going to be an amazing vehicle. From what I'm hearing, the amount of hit points this has is just incredible, and the amount of damage that cannon does for a ground vehicle is pretty impressive. Especially, don't forget, it's a rapid-firing vehicle. So I gotta say, it is what it is. And it's just cool. If you're looking for a really cool vehicle that doesn't break the crew bank, because the Nova requires at least 2 people to skeleton crew it. And really, it's built for 3. And if you actually look at the way the seating is and the way the envisionment of the vehicle was, but let's be honest, you can run it with 2. This thing can be run with 1. And that means that you have another person freed up for other work. On an outpost, this thing would be quite useful. The AA variant, I can't wait to test that. That's probably going to be the real showstopper for ground vehicles, this IAE, because there's the weapon rack sticking out. Once again, there's little crazy things. This is neat. But it's going to be the real showstopper, I think, because this thing already does some reasonable damage at super close range to ships. If we're talking about going into the AA range and chucking missiles and everything else at it, we're talking about some legacy there. It's a vehicle that is really designed to barrage missiles. And, you know, when you start thinking about that, being able to use a barrage of missiles against ground and aerial targets is going to be very, very interesting. But this vehicle has its value as well because it does not run out of ammunition. So it has that energy cannon on top that can just keep pumping away on damage, which is nice. So I don't know. It has its place. I think the Tumbril Storm and the Storm AA are going to be very nice. I want to take a moment to mention, though, do not just run out and get this. If you have a referral, like a cutter, for example, is one of the more recent ones, or a dragonfly, this may be a good option. Do think about CCUs, though, because vehicles like this never hold their value when it comes to in-game UEC compared to what you spend in real-world money. Um, Keep that in mind that you really want to end up with a ship eventually. So if like you get a Tumbril Storm or a Storm AA, or if you already have one, carefully consider you might want to have something to exit out of that and go, okay, this is fun for now, but in a year or two, when I'm past this vehicle, or I can purchase this vehicle in game for very, very small amount of money, like 2 or 3 hours worth of earning, where I can get a ship that's worth days of earning for not much more, because the ships, just for whatever reason, are just infinitely more valuable than the ground vehicles, at least right now in the current cost wise inside the game. Just some food for thought. It's a very exciting vehicle. Enjoy it. Enjoy this IAE. Don't forget you'll be able to rent it on the show floor on Tumbril Day. And in general, I gotta say, I'm impressed with it. I think they did a great job. I'm glad to finally see it. And there are already going to be paints for it. Like I said, there's already the one you saw, and there's going to be two more, and that's wonderful. I'm glad to see that it's coming in straight into drivable with a few paints to play with and to enjoy. So that'll do it for now. Thank you for tuning in. Happy IAE, everybody.